Welcome. Tom and Q Show, episode 8 in our second season. Here we are, April 7th. I am Tom. This is Q. Thank you for joining us, whether you are joining us via Facebook Live, as we do this every week. Seems to be on a different day every week this week, kind of as much as we can fit in.
It's our busy season with life, with work. We gotta make things happen to keep this season going.
Yeah, it's not going to stop. So we're back to our old time, Thursday this week at 11:05, a few minutes behind. Everything seems to be running relatively smooth. Today, we're here. Q's a Cubs fan. I'm a Reds fan. Today is the fake opening day.
Perfectly said. If the Reds don't start the season here at Cincinnati, the first baseball team should host that. There should be some kind of tradition to allow that to happen, and they've gotten away with it. And if we're not opening the season, it's a fake opening day.
So they play tonight at 8 o'clock. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on down the line today. We do have a hard out in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. As we go through our usual business process. But while we're at it, last week's show was what? I can't even keep track anymore. Was it Tuesday? Tuesday. So we had a little over a week to saturate to see where we ended up in our podcast last week. So we had we were talking about this before we went on. We had some technical difficulties last week with some... as my kids would call it, glitchiness, right? Fortunately, it didn't seem like that spilled over to the podcast or spilled over to the actual YouTube video, so you can catch us there if you go to my YouTube page, which we share, Spotify, Apple Music for the podcast. So let's take a look and see how we did last week.
I know we neglected to use words like neurology and science and brain. And
so last week's episode, rightfully so, because of the Will Smith, Chris Rock drama, was titled Getting Jiggy With It. And we have 9 downloads, which is roughly that's kind of about what we're averaging. But yeah.
We like that double-digit number, but yeah. 9, that's pretty close.
Maybe we'll get there. One can hope. So 9 of them. That kind of spread out throughout the week. That's kind of nice. People are interested, right? Maybe we have some entertainment, something we can help folks with. So, we changed a little bit of some of the topics around. We still cover all the other stuff, but we've kind of went a little bit down a different path. Kind of here in season 2, we're not afraid to talk about whether it's worldly opinions, politics, business, whatever it is. If we feel we can either entertain or help somebody, we're gonna start doing that. So live and uncut, right? So here we go. All right. So 88% of our listeners come from the United States. 1% of those listeners is our good friend Hans from Frankfurt, Germany. Thank you again, Frankfurt, Germany, for listening. A couple new places. Houston, Texas. I think they saw that we had picked Houston for the Final Four.
Yeah, algorithms got us.
Yep. Cincinnati, Ohio. Secaucus, New Jersey. Nope, it has nothing to do with the tournament. Mason, Ohio. This is a fun word to say, okay? Pulaski, Wisconsin.
All right.
Pulaski. And several years ago, I've got some family up in Chicago, and we were visiting up there, and she was a school teacher, and she was talking about how they get off for Pulaski Day. Here in Ohio, I'm like, I have no idea who this
Never heard of it.
Pulaski guy is. I mean, what kind of sausage does he make? That was kind of my interpretation. So every time I hear the word Pulaski now, I think about
Pulaski
that conversation.
Off of Savannah, there's Fort Pulaski.
Not to be confused with Roman Polanski. Pulaski. Pulaski. I'm assuming he was Polish.
That sounds a safe statement to make.
So the type of sausage he made was Polish. Answer your own question.
Alexa, play Cheap Seats.
All the cheap.
Playing the cheap seats. For over 90 million songs on demand, say try Amazon Music Unlimited. Here's the cheap seats by Alabama.
There we go.
on Amazon Music.
She went on a rant. I was getting nervous.
The cheap seats. All right, so recap a little bit from last week. We mentioned congratulations to Big Tom on his retirement. We finally got a chance to celebrate last week, and I asked him, how was your first week going? So he just can't find enough stuff. He's like, I'm going to be doing something.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't want to work, but, like...
He doesn't want to do nothing.
Right. So, but he does want to do nothing. You know, it's like nothing of... nothing of...
I want to do nothing on my own terms.
So I know that he's golfed a few times, which is good. I know that he got his boat back, so he'll be able to do some fishing, and it's kind of, you know, he can not having those schedule. We talked about last week those schedule things, so it's like it's easier. Like last night, we had everything canceled, so we got a chance to go out and celebrate his birthday and retirement.
All right.
So it was hard to decide. Okay, what do you get him? Like he golfs and fishes, so it's easy. A Bass Pro gift card, right, every year. But this being a little bit different, Nicole actually came up with this idea, so it's interesting. You know, you've seen those monthly subscription, like, box gifts. Like, Blake gets one. It's called Plate Crate.
Okay.
Where, like, once a month, he gets a box of, like, different baseball stuff, right?
All right.
So, like, he got a T-shirt. One was, then come with, like, some stickers. One was, like, a bat grip. Some different, like, balls or different things, you know, just have to do with baseball. So she found something similar to that, like with fishing, right? So they will send you every month. They'll send you a box with I'm assuming it's like a leaflet of like you'll get like lures and baits and things that you can use, and then there's like a leaflet that you can like go to YouTube and we talked about the unsung hero, right? The guy is confident enough to put these out there. Created a YouTube video to show these people how exactly they should be using said lures, and then there's other knickknacks and stuff that'll go in there
that's
too.
Pretty cool.
So
it's like just a subscription of refills every month to something
different
to
stuff.
keep you in your hobby, and that's pretty cool.
You know, I know I've got some friends that they do stuff like that for like clothes, right? So like they'll get an outfit. You know, it's kind of based around golf, but like polos and pants or shorts and all that type of stuff. And,
right.
You can choose to keep it or send it back. Whereas this, he's going to get a couple of different things, maybe add a couple new tools to his tool belt, right? And learn different things and kind of keep things fresh. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on right now. You had a weekend.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Audrey and I decided to fly up and see Paige play. Fordham's a big rival in the A10 for softball, so we wanted to go see that. And
where is Fordham?
Fordham is in the Bronx.
Okay.
So we went to Amherst. It was a home game, so we did not go to Fordham. But we wanted to see them play the big rival. Didn't work out in our favor. Fordham's in a good spot right now. Us with the coaching changes and some new philosophies on playing. We're kind of in the dark ages of UMass softball, so went in Fordham's favor all weekend. Got beat up, but that is what it is. Got to spend a lot of time with Paige, hanging out and catching up and laughing and dinner. And
now she originally that was supposed to be a surprise.
It was supposed to be a surprise. You know, just like any college student that gets out there, they go through their ups and downs. Any young person in life, any old person in life, you have your roller coasters of highs and lows, and you know, a few things don't bounce your way, you get a little discouraged. And so there were two things on our mind. She was going through a challenging time, and you know, we're saying everything to boost her spirits and kind of keep her mind in the right place. And you know, it wasn't anything crazy bad. It's just one of those idle stages of life. So we broke the news to her. We broke the surprise. Said, hey, you know, keep your head up, kiddo. Stay positive. We're actually coming out next weekend, which gave her a sense of relief and sigh of relief. And, you know, so she had something to look forward to and stop thinking about classes and being backed up on homework and getting to practice and just everything that comes with, you know, a full schedule. and then the other thing on my mind was like, man, I hope she don't have anything planned over the weekend.
Yeah.
Because if we show up and we surprise her, and she's like, oh no, which is funny because she did, and there was a recovery. So we got there Saturday morning. We left here 6:30, landed, drove across. We got there just in time for game time, noon on Saturday. We went out to dinner. We were talking to her, and she was talking about Sunday night. And I was like, well, no, we're actually leaving at like 7:30 because we're driving back to Boston, turning in the rental car, and we're flying out Monday morning at like 6. And she was like, oh, I thought you were going to be here Sunday night, and I canceled my plans. And I was like, oh, no. And they had like just a dance that they were going to, kind of like an icebreaker seasonal thing that they do at campus. And I felt bad because I thought I ruined her plans. So she made a few phone calls. She was able to get a ticket and still able to go. So when we left Sunday night, she was still able to go to her little shindig or whatever it was on campus there. So nothing was ruined. Weekend was great. Conversation, as I share with everybody all the time. It's so cool to be on this side of 20 and everything she's going through and kind of listening and how she puts it in perspective. And, it's neat to have Audrey there as well, just to kind of see, from the eyes of a 15-year-old, this is what's going on. And it was good, man. Great dinner, great time, great breakfast.
Where did you go?
Texas Roadhouse that Saturday night.
Do they still allow you to throw peanuts on the floor?
No peanuts. I think COVID dropped the ball on the peanuts. Still got amazing rolls.
Okay.
The rolls are delicious.
Those are good.
So we got there, and there's like a fillet on the marketing TV or table tent thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that looks really good. That looks really good. I've changed my mind. I'm like, I might just get that. We're out of filet, and Paige already had it. She's getting a burger, and we're out of burgers. Interesting. So, strike one, strike two.
And you're from Texas. And you don't have any steers that you can make steaks or burgers out of at this point.
Right. So, we got some pork, got some ribs. I forget what Paige got to make up for the burger, but no, it was good. She was awesome. You get them every now and then, and just so service was great. She was funny, and then that Sunday, we went to Johnny's Roadside Diner. It's one of Paige's favorite places, just a place there in Amherst.
Little hole in the wall.
Yep, I got chicken and waffles, and the waffle was cool, man. It was like a cornbread waffle. Never had one before.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it.
I'm a huge cornbread fan.
I love cornbread, and I love waffles. And you know what? Some things that cornbread waffle was pretty legit, man. So it was fantastic.
And was that breakfast?
Yes.
Okay, so where do you stand?
It was a late breakfast because she had an early game, and we went to after her game, so it was like 2:00 in the afternoon.
This is a two-part question. Okay, first I'm going to ask you about chicken and waffles. Where do you stand on chicken and waffles? Maybe it's a three-part question. Where do you stand on Brenner first?
All in.
All in on breakfast for dinner.
I could eat breakfast for dessert.
Okay, so vehemently disagree.
Okay.
I love breakfast too.
Would that be dessert?
Yeah, love breakfast too. Like Austin will come home and he can eat a bowl of cereal for dinner. I'm like, how do you do that? Like my day, like I could start off with like the smell of bacon, like eggs and pancakes or French toast or whatever it is your flavor. I can't come 5:30, 6:30, whatever it is, dinner time. Like, no, like I want something hearty. I want something meaty, saucy, something. Not sweet.
Bacon, sausage, gravy, biscuits. That's hearty, man.
No, it's not for me. Not for me. Now, if you're gonna put bacon on the burger or bacon wrapped something, okay, right. I'm all in on that. Some bacon on a baked potato.
Got a little brown sugar on a bacon, a little drizzle of syrup. Cook it. Comes out, and I can eat that for dessert.
So the second part of that question is, and you may have already answered it, where on that spectrum does chicken and waffles fit?
So I don't know. I mean, it's a new craze across the country.
Because
I don't think it's been a long time thing. I'm only familiar with it like the last 4 or 5 years. I never really put them together, but now I see it like everywhere. And
I want to say there's a story behind it. I want to say it was like a late night story. And that could be way off on this, so I'm going to completely make it up as best I can.
Right.
And I think it was like in Atlanta. Might even have been like, I think Patti LaBelle like has like the best world-renowned, worldwide, world-known chicken and waffles.
Okay.
And I was watching a show, and again, my names could be off, but you'll understand. Paraphrase, could be somebody completely different,
Right.
but could be a different place. But this is the story that I best understood it. That they had a late night restaurant. Think Waffle House, think White Castle, where people would come in and they couldn't decide if they wanted breakfast
Or dinner.
or dinner. And they ended up basically creating this dish, chicken and waffles. And it took off and it was a hit.
Yeah.
So I'll ask again, where do you stand on chicken and waffles for dinner?
That specific. I don't know that I've ever had it, but I would be down. I mean, there's Taste of Belgium. I take it back. I have Taste of Belgium.
Yeah.
We went down and we had dinner at Taste of Belgium, and that's exactly what I had. One in Rome.
And you got
So
the
give me
chicken
what you're
and
known
waffles.
for, chicken and waffles, and it was incredible.
So
yeah.
no, I'm anti chicken and waffles for dinner.
Okay.
Now, with that being said,
Have you been to Taste of Belgium?
I haven't.
Okay. Highly recommended.
So I'm also
Maybe we could do Taste of Belgium for lunch.
at one point, I never even thought of chicken other than the egg as part of breakfast. Now,
Chick-fil-A, chicken biscuit.
I have done a complete 180 on that.
Good.
So I remember that this is several years ago, probably 10. We had a late night at bowling. I was running into work, and on the way to work, I was like, I wanted to get something to eat. So I swung in through Arby's drive-thru. I was like, give me a couple of those chicken biscuits. I don't know what drove me to them. But that particular day, those chicken biscuits were the greatest breakfast sandwich I had ever had of all time. So that's my 180.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, good chicken biscuit. Arby's, great chicken biscuit.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try theirs.
Yeah, it's good.
I like it's one of my retail days. Guy came down, corporate trainer came down, spending some time together, and went up to lunch or went to breakfast at Chick-fil-A, and he said, "Man, do you ever get their chicken biscuits?" I'm a huge sausage biscuit fan.
Okay.
I love sausage biscuits. And I'm like, I just can't do it. So same thing, just kind of bringing the things together. I'm like, no, man, that's not what biscuits are for. It's not what chicken's for. Like, it's not. And same thing. I was like, you know what, man? Sure. I'll try one against my better judgment.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I was wrong because I ate it. And I'm like, man, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's really good. So fast forward to the whole chicken waffle craze. So you know what? I was wrong on chicken and biscuits. I'm looking at chicken and waffles, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it.
So
and I'm glad I did.
Chicken and biscuits was your gateway food.
Yeah.
It was your gateway drug to chicken and waffles.
Yes.
I just can't, I don't know. I can't do syrup for dinner.
All right. I'm a real light syrup guy, so.
Not me.
Okay.
Like breakfast, I want pools of syrup. And it's funny too.
Was it Don't Kill a Mockingbird when a kid puts syrup on everything?
that or Elf? It's one of the major food groups.
You put syrup on that?
Well, what's funny too is I'll on occasion we'll make, whether we're camping or whatever, we'll make a big breakfast. Bacon, eggs, sausage, pancakes, French toast, waffles, something of that sort. Hash browns, everything.
Yep.
And my younger kids, they literally will need a plate for everything. So it's like, I need eggs, got to be on a separate plate, pancakes, eggs, and bacon or sausage can just kind of go anywhere, but he can't touch the syrup. Now, mind you, it's probably maple bacon or maple sausage, so that it's already been in the mix. Me, I can take it all and just
Yes.
pile it on.
Yes.
And I used to make the joke of like Kentucky Fried Chicken. They had the mashed potatoes, the brown gravy. You get some fried chicken, and just you know what? Just put it all in there. They started coming out with the bowl.
Yep.
The bowl.
Yeah.
You know, breakfast same way. You've seen the breakfast bowls where they have like the potatoes,
Bob
they
Evans
have the
has
bacon.
one.
Yeah,
it's
the
fantastic.
bacon. I'm like, I've been doing that for years.
Yes.
I need to know a patent attorney.
I used to be like that with A1 dinner time. I put A1 on a steak, mashed potatoes, corn, everything. A1 was. I don't really eat it hardly ever anymore, but I would
had
put
some
A1.
last night.
I would. Oh man,
I could.
I'm thinking about A1. I
A1.
love
You can put A1 in anything.
anything. 100%.
Pork
Bologna
chops.
sandwich.
Yeah.
A1.
A1. Like
Why didn't A1 take off like barbecue? Like A1 ribs. A1.
I don't know.
Let's do it. You like to cook? Let's do
We
it.
could do it.
Let's do it. A1 chips. Some barbecue
Ooh.
chips. Some A1 chips.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Cover your ears, everyone.
Yeah, we know who you are.
Did you ever see the meme with A1? It's like right in the middle of slavery. It's a great time to come up with
Yes.
It's like 1860.
Great time to come up with the steak sauce.
Right.
You know, it's like when you were out of A1 as a kid, like it was like put a little bit of water in there, shake it up,
Yes.
more A1. It was like you just wanted that flavor.
I will put A1 on something tonight. It goes good on everything. I'm gonna try A1 pizza. I'm just gonna have like a mad A1 science lab in my kitchen today.
A1 is like it's like the poor man's brown gravy.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I'm going to put some A1 on these mashed potatoes. I'm going to stir them up and put some A1 on this steak or pork chop, whatever I got. And I'm going to dip that steak in those A1 pork chops or in that A1 mashed potatoes.
So the chicken and biscuit was my gateway to experimenting with biscuits and chicken. And so A1, there's a story with that is kind of my maturing growing up moment. I went to dinner with someone. I was just used to putting A1 on it. So I ordered a steak. I got A1.
Yeah.
And a guy at the table was like, wow, I'm surprised the chef doesn't come out and punch you in the face for it. And I was like, oh, that's bad. And I was young then.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's an insult to the cook to cover it up with.
Now
I was like, I didn't know that.
I won't do it at a fancy steakhouse.
No.
But I will do it. Well, I take that back. Not at the steakhouse itself.
So if you're ordering
but
A1, if
bring
you like
it home,
just hey, tell the chef, no offense, I just love A1.
Yeah, that's it, right? And like, but I won't do it at like a Ruth Chris or Ruby's or anything like that unless I take it home. So if I take it home and like reheat leftovers, I'm like, you wouldn't believe how good this steak is now. Like it was great last night, but tonight it is phenomenal.
Yes,
You
like
know.
an A1 dry rub. Does that exist?
It probably does.
Yeah.
That probably does. But I mean,
What a great rabbit hole we just went down.
it's a great condiment.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to burgers. Unless
A1 packets at like Wendy's.
they
and,
do
like,
have those.
The A1 should be everywhere.
They do have
It
those.
should be
I've
ketchup, mustard, and A1.
I've seen the A1 packets at Crossroads.
Okay.
They have those there. Yeah. So I've seen those.
Is there an A1 wing sauce?
No, I don't know about that. Like, I mean, I'm sure it would be delicious, but the buffalo.
We need an A1 party.
What can you not put A1 on?
Obviously, the desserts, sweets, stuff like that. But
Easter's coming up. What about some A1 jelly beans?
I would eat them.
I would eat it. I would eat it.
I would eat A1
100%.
jelly beans.
Jelly belly. Get to work.
Yes.
Like, I love jelly beans.
I'm really having a tough time, man, with, excluding some of the obvious things, but you never know, man, like salted caramel. Like, people didn't put that together. A1 caramel.
I like the idea of the A1 chips. I like that a lot because I'll load A1. I'll put A1 on a baked potato.
Yeah.
It's
No, when you're eating chips, you just...
We're gonna ask for A1 today at lunch.
Yes.
I'm gonna get, but this is where I was going with that. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to hamburgers,
Yeah.
unless I don't have a ketchup. A1 and chicken rings from White Castle. I bet that is good.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that's good.
Chicken and waffles with A1.
Yeah. Now see, now we're getting involved. What about an A1 waffle? Mix a little A1 in the batter, put it in there.
Ooh.
Instead of chicken and waffles, a steak and waffle. Oh.
Steak and waffle.
There's this guy
Man.
I follow on TikTok, and he's kind of I can't think of his name. I always come up with this stuff as we go, but it's a video of him like watching other people, whether they're making food or like whatever they're doing, and he's just like so animated with whatever it is they're doing. Like the one they're taking.
It's like a split screen, and
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
The one, like, he was all up in arms because they were taking things out of their containers and putting them into like other containers, but the containers were shaped exactly like they'd have a big giant Tupperware cereal.
Yes,
thing.
Taking them out
And
of the
he was
box.
like, why not just put the cereal in the cereal box where it belongs, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's other ones where it's like food. And like he'll sit there and it's like, oh, butter. Just put more butter. It's all syrup. He's like, oh, I want some of this. Like A1, little A1. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Beef stew.
We're gonna try an A1 wing, man.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. That's good stuff. So you had a good weekend.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So we had a good weekend too. It was kind of the first, Carson's team's been playing for the high school this is I think week 2.
Yeah.
Or start of week 3. So we've been around every night last week. They played every night. So whether it was pretty much cool and wet and whatever all week long. But Austin's 12-year-old team, they got an opportunity to play. And you kind of don't find out really in some of these tournaments where you're going or who you're playing really until the Tuesday before. Mm-hmm. And so like there was like one place every time that it comes out, and there's like these buckets of different places where they're putting different age groups. And there's like one place where it's like, we don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. Whatever it is, I don't care where we got to go, just not there. Mm-hmm. And that's Kenton Lakes Sports Club, which I was there like.
Is that in Northern Kentucky? Where is that?
It's in Northern Kentucky.
Okay.
Well, I say Northern Kentucky, but it's almost an hour drive.
Okay.
Depending on where you're coming from. And so from our standpoint is basically like you would leave here and you'd go to the Kyle's Lane exit and go like basically down instead of going towards our office, make a left and take that almost all the way down to whatever it is that runs. There was multiple ways to get there, but whatever it is that runs. And then you're taking back roads for another 30 or 40 minutes.
All right.
And then you get to this place and there's like no cell phone service. So your GPS works, which I'm still confused by that in these cell phone companies on how your GPS can work.
Yeah,
but you get no signal when you want to.
I saw a house down in Falmouth, and I went all the way down and got me there. And I punched in GPS to get back, and I was like, "Oh no,
yeah,
no service."
Oh, no. That's what happened. So we played. Well, first of all, we played Friday night at River City East, which is the softball park right across from, right on Kellogg Avenue, right across from like Coney Island. And it was freezing cold. Like I dressed I pulled out a panel barn jacket that had been sitting in my closet since 1997. Okay? Like, I knew there was a reason that I was saving it.
That's it.
This weekend was the reason. And, like, I was dressed like I was going sled riding. Like, I had tights. This is just me. I'm not even playing.
That's funny.
I had tights. I had, like, multiple shirts on, sweatpants, like, gloves. And I'm like, freezing.
Mittens.
Yeah, it's like, and the kids are out there, they're playing, whatever, and it's like man, this is miserable. They did a good job. We won, and it was like, come back. It was like, we're going to be back here Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh, man, it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold then. Turn around, come back Saturday morning, play the game. Then we were done. We were done for the day. Not Saturday morning. It was Saturday afternoon. So Saturday actually ended up being really nice. And so, but then we had to come back Sunday. And, I mean, I was bouncing back and forth because it was like one game, it was like bounce, come back, Sunday, like one game we win. Okay, now we're going to I got to come back and I'm going to a flag football game, which, by the way, Blake, he's 7, him and his buddy, they play on a flag football game.
All right.
A flag football team. they are like Alabama. Like, it's like the greatest flag football team on the history of the planet. These first graders, like they got 2 kids, like 3 kids that are tall and like fast, and like they've played football before.
Yeah.
Whereas like Blake's pretty good at stuff too, and his buddy Parker's pretty good at
He
stuff
looks
too.
a little fast, little shifty
like-
little guy.
Blake's dropping back, he throws, he finds Parker in the end zone, touchdown. The other team, like poor other team, like they drop back to pass, and like they go to throw it. They can't even get the snap right. You know, it's like they go to throw it. One of our guys picks it off for a pick 6. I think the score was like 80-0 at one point. This dude dropped back in the end zone, and like Parker and Blake just take off running down the middle of the field.
Right.
And he launches it like 35 yards in the air, and like Parker is like catches it, takes off running. Like
That's
it's
hilarious.
like we are the greatest flag football team on the planet. So anyway, I digress. But went there, picked them up, and then had to go back to Kenton Lake. So it was like early that morning, Saturday. We played at 9:45. So I was up really early. We probably left. We left probably 7:45. We get there, play the game, and it's like I'm going back to Blake's game, and then we had to be back at like 3:00 for our next game. So like I picked them up, then we're going back there, and like we were talking before, like the GPS. I see what Steve says. It's like GPS equals satellite versus phone equals cell tower. Okay, thank you for clarification on that. That makes a lot of sense. The only thing I would ask then, why doesn't my GPS work when I want to go back?
Right.
Because there was multiple, like it's in the middle of nowhere, literally the middle
Yes.
of nowhere. It is 20 minutes to the nearest gas station or like restaurant. Like 20 minutes. That's a long way in today's world to get to one particular place. And like we're going there, and we like GPS gets us right to the gate. We go in. Games are over. It's like you go to leave. It's like waiting for the GPS. You're just guessing for like the first 5-10 miles. Like, at one point on Saturday, I looked at Nicole. I was like, well, the thing on the odometer says we're going north. So we're in Kentucky. I figure as long as we're going north, we're eventually going to run into the river. So like we get that way, and then like the sun, like Sunday, I
That's
found
great troubleshooting.
Yes,
right there.
thank you, Mr. Smith, in your geography class for teaching me north, south, east, and west. Or as Blake said last
Hey,
night,
Tommy Watkins wants in on the flag football team.
you
for
ought
the
to.
NIL.
Yeah, they could be the WAP Flames. That's their name, the Flames. I can't kick him out for his Cubs jersey. He's been a Cubs fan for as long as I've known him. Why, I don't know. But so going back to the GPS, so like Sunday we're leaving. We were out, turn was over, we're heading home. And like I was trying to go back the way I came Sunday morning because it seemed like a much easier way.
Right.
And like Nicole's operating the GPS. Of course, that's like 10 miles down the road where I'm just like, hey, I'm coming out here, I'm making a left, and I'm just going to keep on going down this road
Until I hit the river.
basically. And so like I keep going, and like this is where the story kind of takes a turn on our weekend. Everything else was great. The tournament was great. The team did really well. Austin had a great weekend. But like we're driving, and like she didn't tell me about this turn I need to make. Okay, keep that in mind. She didn't tell me that it's like we end up in this little town. I could see Cincinnati.
Okay.
I could see it like through the trees. So we're not far. I'm thinking, like if you're looking at a map, probably, I'm guessing, like if you know where the precinct is on the Cincinnati side,
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're kind of same spot but on the other side of the river.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the town, but like there's row houses and there's cars parked on each side.
Yeah,
going,
you'd have like Bellevue, Dayton would be that far down.
I want to say it was even further down.
So, okay. What is over there? Oh, go ahead.
So there's row houses, right? And like cars are parked on both sides of the street, and then there's cars going one way and cars going the other.
Yep.
And so she goes, we passed this street. She goes, you're supposed to turn here. I'm like, well, okay, well, would have been nice had you told me that I was supposed to turn there. And so like that's fine. I'll just come up here and make a left. Well, I noticed to the right, there's like I don't know if it was a family, but there's people outside kind of in their front yard. They're blowing bubbles. I just see bubbles everywhere. And like I kind of look at that, and then I see kind of, I don't know, 30 yards away, this dog coming down the steps and going out in the front yard. Well, through these parked cars, probably from me to the wall, all of a sudden I see this dog come out in the street.
Ooh.
And I go to swerve. Well, I can't swerve because just at that same exact moment that I'm swerving, a car is coming this way. Yep. Thump, thump. And it's just like, looked in the rear view. I'm like, bad news. Dog's days
Done.
are over.
Ah.
And, it just, it just kind of crushed me the entire drive because I'm kept thinking of like some little kid whose pet, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do a dang on thing about it, but I kept thinking like, man, if we just made that turn, like, that dog would have survived. Everything would have been the way it should be.
Yeah.
However, fate led us to miss the turn. That dog was called home.
Right.
So,
that's terrible.
it's
Hate to
horrible.
hear that.
Yeah, it was sad. We didn't tell any of the kids. Of course, like they felt it. They're like, "Whoa, what was that?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing." like, because if you that'd have been like 3 days ruined for Blake.
Yeah.
It'd been nonstop questions, like just about.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah. So it was a little painful. But then did get home Saturday night. And as we talked about before, I'm a big wrestling fan. It's my
this was your Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's kind of my
Now that the
embarrassed.
Bengals made the Super Bowl, you don't compare
It
things to
used
the
to
Super
be,
Bowl
yeah, it
anymore.
used to correct.
That's the Super
No,
Bowl.
that's the actual Super Bowl.
Yeah, Bengals in the Super Bowl with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Anything
So-
else in life fails miserably in comparison.
Correct.
Yeah, this is my
It does. We found that out.
World Championship game.
So you had WrestleMania Saturday night, and then you had, WrestleMania Sunday. So WrestleMania Saturday night, there was a couple of things that took place. You had the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was just cool. Now he came out and he
All knee braced up.
did. He drank a lot of beer.
Yeah.
He had a lot of fun, but he moved like it wasn't the same. Like you could tell, like it's been 19, 20 years, whatever it is, since he's been like.
How old is he now? He's got to be flirting with 60.
Yeah, I would think so. Like, yeah, but I mean, he bad knees, bad neck. He's hobbling around.
Yeah.
They're making a great show out of it.
Yep.
And then you had, typically in WrestleMania they have like popular, the hot celebrities, right, will come out and they'll try their hand at wrestling. And usually it's basically they're just there for the pop and the circumstances, and like the wrestlers take over. So you had Johnny Knoxville, which was extremely entertaining. You had Johnny Knoxville.
He's 57 years old.
Yeah.
Stephen James Anderson.
Sting is still wrestling, and he's 60. Yeah. But they had Sami Zayn was wrestling Johnny Knoxville from Jackass, right?
Okay.
And that was one of the most hilarious wrestling matches I had ever seen. It was basically like Jackass the movie, like where
Just throw me all over the place.
yeah, and like so like Sami Zayn gets stuck in a big giant mouse trap. Like it looked like the game Mousetrap actually.
Yeah.
Like he got tased or stun gunned. On top of that, he was at one point he was running outside the ring, and out of nowhere came this big giant like the gate. You could picture like the game
Wipeout.
like Wipeout, big giant hand that just went boom and just smacked him. So that was hilarious. And then you had Logan Paul, right? You know who Logan Paul
Yep.
is. He boxed Floyd Mayweather Jr. for money. I'd say boxed, but he got his you-know-what kick by Floyd Mayweather. But anyway, like the dude's in tremendous shape. But I'm thinking like, okay, it's all about whatever the money. It's all about the show. It's all about the entertainment.
Sure.
This dude went out there And I'll be honest with you, you would not know if you didn't know that was Logan Paul.
He's an incredible athlete, man.
You wouldn't know that he wasn't a pro wrestler or sports entertainer.
Right.
You'd have no idea.
Yeah, he's I'm impressed with the guy, man. I don't follow all that stuff too closely, but I know he's been in the ring multiple times.
He walked
and
out.
He's carried himself extremely well.
How this dude made money?
He's a fantastic. He's a what?
Like a YouTuber.
YouTuber. Yeah. So he got.
I'm a YouTuber. I don't make that type of money.
Yeah.
I'm not that creative.
I'll start boxing.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, where you at, dude?
He's right. Careful. But dude comes out. He walks down the ramp and he's got like this one of a kind Pokemon card around his neck. It's like
Right.
worth like $5 million. It said, and he's just walking out carrying this thing.
Whoa.
Yeah. But then he gets in the ring and just totally crushed it.
Yeah.
Totally like.
So is that his new venture?
I don't
Is that
know.
his new
I
path?
think, but I left there. I'm like, man, I think he could actually do that.
Yeah.
Like, he's in great shape. He knows how to talk. He knows how to do all these things, and it's phenomenal. It was Saturday night was extremely entertaining. It ended with the Stone Cold stuff.
Yeah, he's one of the YouTubers that made it big, that made it famous. And some of them are talented. Majority of them are not. They just fall on a dumb situation and do something shock value and get it. But I do think Logan Paul is a gifted human being when it comes to charisma and athleticism and just the total package.
And sometimes
And I
that's
don't
all
think
you
it's
need in that business.
I don't think it's an accident that has done what he's done. And I'm not like a big fan of it or
Yeah.
anything, but it's just the consistency of every arena he stepped into, literally and figuratively. He's been able to maintain and hold his own and do well. Now I don't know what kind of person he is. I don't care. But when it comes to that type of thing, he's
It was impressive. Now,
gonna have a great story to tell at the end. Like
yeah,
like an Elon Musk, like I did, like a Forrest Gump
yes,
type story. Like I did this, I tried this, and I did it. I tried it, and I tried. So he's gonna have he could be a great motivational speaker of, I just why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
you can do any. You literally can do anything you put your mind to.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Sure. So that was Saturday night, and then Sunday night, equally as entertaining. The highlight for me was, I'm a fan of Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
So Pat McAfee was on there. He's an actual announcer on Friday nights for WWE. So he works for WWE.
Okay.
And he had Vince McMahon on his podcast, a few weeks ago, and Vince McMahon offered him a WrestleMania match, which was like the highlight of his life, right? Growing up as a fan, he's like, yeah, I'll do it, blah, blah, blah. So then, of course, they set up the story with the guy, and he has this match with this guy that's younger, more athletic, like just dude's a stud, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to wrestle Pat McAfee. McAfee gets up there, and he was more impressive than Logan Paul.
Really?
Yes. Dude, one time he had this guy up on the ropes like he was gonna suplex him, back suplex him off the ropes, right? So off the top rope, suplex him all the way down. Well, the guy pushes him. McAfee does a backflip, lands on his feet. I'm like, whoa! Like I totally did. You're thinking like this guy's.
That's a kicker.
Yeah, I'm thinking like this guy's was an athlete, but yeah, he was a punter.
Yeah.
And he's a celebrity. He don't belong in the same deal with these guys.
Yeah.
So then that was the first time I was impressed. Well, then he took off right from there, and instead of climbing the ropes, he jumped from the mat onto the top rope.
Whoa.
Like straight
Pat got some ups.
straight box jumped the top rope onto the top, grabbed the guy, and suplexed him down. It was freaking amazing. Like I'm like, oh my, like that's stuff that like some of those world class, like the guys that actually do it
Can't do. Wow.
And I'm like you can YouTube it. It's freaking it was freaking amazing.
Nice.
Right? It was extremely entertaining. He ended up winning. Well, then Vince comes out. And Vince is like, "Well, okay, I'm going to fight you." So he takes off his jacket and everything.
76-year-old.
And he's freaking jacked, man. Like I always knew, like I remember back in the day, like he was huge when he was like 50 something. Like looking at him now, I'm like, dude is ripped.
Yeah.
Like I mean, just unreal. Like, and then of course that happened, and then Stone Cold came back out to save him. He ends up giving Vince a stunner for old time's sake, which looked bad too, by the way. If you saw it, like it looked bad.
Let me set this
Yeah,
up.
they kind of kept
Walker aside.
Yes, Well, it was like they tried to hit it, and then it was like he missed. So then he backed up, and then he like it was like you could tell it was definitely a work. And like when he did it, it like Vince just kind of slid down. It didn't look all that good. And then like, he's drinking, like he brings McAfee back in the ring, and they're drinking more. Like Stone Cold drank like 50 beers over the 2 nights.
That's great.
All in like whatever the 30-minute segments he was out there. So he's drinking beer with
I ain't got the stunner anymore.
Yeah, drinking beer with McAfee. Next thing you know, now he stuns McAfee, and McAfee's over there. Like when he invited him into the ring, like you could tell, like he was like a kid. Like he's just like, oh, this is so cool. I love this. Like, and then he gets stunned, and like when he falls, when he falls on the stunner, and he just falls straight back, just spitting beer up in the air, like, and it goes on and on and on, and then like. Stone Cold's just drinking beer around the ring, and he's pointing and he's celebrating and all this stuff. It was a lot of fun. And then they pan over to McAfee, who's out of the ring at this point. He's been stunned, so he's just laying on the ground. And
Still in character.
Austin throws him a beer, and he's laying next to the announce table on the ground, out cold, pouring a beer into his mouth, like just drinking it. And I'm like, I love it. It was so good. It was so, the wrestling part of it, whatever, that is what it is. But, man, it was so, like, entertaining. And it was such a, like, so Triple H came out to begin Sunday night, laid his boots in the ring. He's done. He had some health issues.
That's funny.
So it was like, that was the end of him. And then Austin comes out, and it was kind of like, okay, everybody had seen enough of Austin. Like, nobody's going to ask him to come back and wrestle again. Like, it was great closure there.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon comes out. Like, it was great closure there. So, like, everybody kind of got to say their goodbyes and stuff that they had there. So that was kind of cool. It was extremely entertaining. If you haven't seen the clips of Pat McAfee doing those things, check them out. I was extremely impressed, and it was extremely entertaining, and he was hilarious. And, like, I watched his show the next day, and he was talking about how awesome it was.
Yeah.
But, like, he was so bruised up and battered. Like, he shows up. He's like, plus, I'm extremely hungover. He's like, but it was so cool. He's like, the whole thing was so dumb. And he meant dumb, like, in just the fact that he was even in that position at all. Gosh, it was great. It was a lot of fun. And I've watched those a lot, and that was one of the best ones that I had seen in a long time, where it was just straight entertainment factor.
Yeah.
Like, it had nothing to do with anything other than I could care less who won.
No rivalry. Just entertain.
Yes, it was entertaining.
Let's have a show.
Yep, that was it. It was a show.
I bet they like that, too.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's cool.
So, yeah, you said it. Us, over the last few weeks, the Talbies have made a step. Right? We talked about it's our busy season, right? Whether it's work or whatever. And, like, Nicole's really good at organizing, and so she had this family calendar. And, like, I would say, like, oh, I've got this going on. Well, is it on the calendar? No, it's not on the calendar. I was like, finally I said, you know what? We need a Google Calendar, which we could just put all of our stuff on the Google Calendar, because when you're doing all the stuff that we do on it's like sometimes you're high-fiving in the hall, or like, can you do this? Can you do that? Now we have this calendar where it's like, we just put everything in there. Hey, I've got this for work. Hey, I've got this for ball. I've got this, and this. So if you haven't tried meshing a Google Calendar as a family, I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
I would show you how busy mine is. Just like it's really intimidating looking at it, because it's all in, like, every day has like 4 or 5 different colors on it, like where you got to be at certain times, and like I put my work stuff in there too, so like everybody knows, like, hey, I'm here at this point, blah blah blah. So that is my app of the week.
Yeah, I left the house this morning to go to Lowe's to get my door problem fixed, which has been dragging out way too long, and I won't even go into it. But told Jessica, man, it's a long day tomorrow. Said, I'm leaving. I'll see you around 7. So, well, what do you got going on? I said, well, got to go to Lowe's to get our door thing fixed, because we need a screen door, because it's driving me nuts. Then we're doing a show. And then we're having a group lunch, Toby Suggs group lunch, going over business. And I got to show a house up in Westchester. And then I got practice from 4 to 6, rain out, so we're indoors. And then I'll be home, and days like that, it's like, all right, it all works, bang, 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 bang. And it's cool, because I've got so much going on in life, and today is one of those days where I'm touching each one of those things.
Yeah. And
it's like awesome. And you're just watching. It's like, Franklin Covey did a thing where you're supposed to fill like 65% of your day, leave 45 open just for spontaneous things.
Yeah.
I'm like 85% full.
I've heard that before.
Like Franklin Covey, I hear you, but today's one of those days that
Like I do a to-do list, right?
Yeah.
And it's like every morning I get up and I do this to-do list, and it's like, okay, and as things like come up, like I don't write it in I try to, but I don't write it in like a chronological type fashion where it's like I'm going to do this first, blah blah blah
Right.
blah. But like it's always funny, like at the end of the day, like I might have like 6 or 7 items in the morning, but by the end of the day, it's like 15. It's like whatever I don't get done of those 15, like it carries over into tomorrow, you know. But the Google Calendar, huge fan.
yeah, we'll get it loaded up, man, because we need it.
Every
Day it's like, what's your day like again?
Like
What's your day like again?
I get
What's tomorrow like?
notifications. Yeah, I get
What's tomorrow
notifications.
like? I told you 5 times.
Where's the game at today? Wait, Austin's got practice. Carson's got a game. But I forgot to tell you, Friday, like this Friday,
Yeah.
is one of those days. We have Austin plays at 6, Carson plays at 5, Blake plays at 6:15.
Yeah.
There's only 2 of us.
No, Jessica, we were like, we need to get divorced, remarried,
Yeah.
and then we have the numbers, and then once everything's done, we'll just get divorced and get married back to one another. But we need extra spouses involved. with
Just,
this.
you go here, you go here. We'll write it on the board. You know, we'll put it in the Google Calendar. So anyway, that's my app of the week. I did see something this week. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, watching a lot of TikToks. Love TikToks. You can go down that hole of TikToks and you just can't
Yep.
ever get out of. And then there's certain TikToks or people that do TikToks that pop up and you're like, wonder what this guy's talking about today. That's pretty funny. Watch this guy. So there was one former President Obama went to the White House.
Yeah.
Everybody's surrounding Obama. Then in the back, you have President Biden. And nobody's talking to President Biden.
No.
And I feel like, I mean, that was one of those moments where
Obama's running in 24.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee it.
they're going to have to change the laws. Which, what? Yeah. I don't see it. I think he's
He's allowed to run.
No.
Yeah, you can do consecutive, then you can take off, and then you can run again, right?
Sure? I don't think
I'm
so.
pretty
I
sure.
think term limits. I think you're only allowed 8 years or 2 term limits.
Back to back. But
I
I
don't
think if you go off for it, I think you can come back and run again. We'll have to look into that.
Political poli-sci majors hit us up with that.
Yeah.
With that
I'm pretty
information.
sure he can.
I don't think you can.
Okay.
I don't think so. Because that would have been talked about.
Right.
And one, why would he want to?
I could go on a rant, but I think because political parties, they just want to win. They don't want to do anything right for the country.
Yeah.
They don't want to do anything right for you and I and the rest of us. They just don't. I'm all in, and I'm convinced that they don't want to do what's right. They just want to win. The Republican Party wants to win. The Democratic Party wants to win at any cost. And it's who can we put up that's the most popular? We'll win. We'll win. If his name on the card, we'll win. Is that the right thing for the country? Probably not, but we'll win. Who cares?
But I would look at it.
I'm gonna have to look into that. I thought it could. You have your term limits of back to back.
Yeah.
But I thought you could run again. There was a president that did it, wasn't there?
Well, they changed it in the after FDR, because he was basically going to be president forever,
Right.
and then they added term limits. He passed away. Truman took over. From that point on, I don't know exactly what that line was. I could get pretty close because, again, not just a hat rack up here,
Right.
But yeah, so that was one of the reasons they put in two term limits. Because if you think about that, okay, man, I mean, how many people do you think in this country have absolutely loved being president?
What's that?
How many people do you think in the however many presidents we've had? What is Biden? Is he
45, 46?
okay? So whatever that number is, in the 46 presidents that we've had, how many of them do you think actually loved being president?
The early ones, I would say, up to say Reagan did, hit or miss. for a little bit. I'd say. Oh man, that's a good question because we watched. It's a great show, John
tough
Adams.
job.
Yeah, we watched John Adams. I think it was on HBO. Jessica and I did, and it was fantastic, man. And some of those guys, it was I don't want to, but it's the right thing to do.
Right.
I'm not looking forward to it, but my peers have nominated me, and it's you're the right guy for the job. Nobody can handle this. So like George Washington was kind of almost more nominated than him campaigning. Hey, I want this.
So let's back up.
That's kind of how it started. Nobody really wanted it. It's just what's the right thing to do for the time, for the situation, and
So
they were talked into it. So,
But this
I'd
is
say
why-
less than 30%.
yeah, but this is also why using that logic right there, and the logic you said before about parties just wanting to win. One, President Obama, politics aside, beliefs aside, you can't argue was one of the most popular presidents of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It still continues to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Plain and simple. Whatever you think about him, whatever, doesn't matter.
Who's that?
Obama.
Yeah.
You had Hillary lose to Trump in 16?
Mm-hmm.
So if Obama was allowed to run again, why wouldn't he have run?
Yeah, I'm reading here. It says no, he cannot.
Yeah.
And I think because I knew the term limits was 2 consecutive.
Now
I thought that was
he
there.
could be vice president.
Yes.
Right, but not president again. But it was hilarious watching that yesterday. Is Obama comes off as this likable, popular, well-spoken.
What Jessica said yesterday.
Like,
She said I could listen to the guy talk all
yeah,
day.
he's a great orator.
Yep.
Orator, however you want to say it, right? And then there's Biden behind him just looking lost.
Yeah.
And then they all go one way. And then he's looking like he's going to go, like, hey, like everybody's going to follow him. And nobody followed him. And he's just like, kind of hands go up in the air, like, well, there was a TikTok.
Jessica had a good point to that, too. She was like, well, it's like anybody that you haven't seen in a long time to come back to the office. Everybody's going to be excited to see you. So everybody else gets snubbed regardless. I was like, you think it's that? She was like, yeah, maybe. There's probably some of that in there. And then, I mean, some people are just more likable than other people.
It's just the TikToks that, and it's everything. This is nothing to do with politics, but like the TikToks are funny because you'll see one person like got an earpiece on, like they pretend like they're talking to the Secret Service, like, okay, we need to get him to go right. We need to get him to go right. Oh, he's not going right. He's going into the flower bed. Turn him around. Turn him around. Like they turn him around. Like yesterday was like they're on the headset and like, okay, we need you to get in there with Obama. We need you to get in there with Obama. Okay, they're leaving. Where are you going? Why? Nope. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. It's just funny stuff. So anyway, that kind of happened yesterday. So you haven't seen those TikToks, and that's your type of thing. Follow that. Laugh at it. We talked about, in the last couple weeks, trying to help people explain some things. Obviously we are part of the 2/3 of the Talby Suggs group. So
Yep.
I am Talby, you are Suggs. So we're kind of important when it comes to the Talby Suggs group. Or
A
else
little bit.
right now, currently, it would just be group,
Yep.
right? Not good.
Group.
So we talked last week about buyers and how are buyers winning in this market when you have multiple offers, extremely high prices, and just different ways that people are being creative, whether it's legal or not, to be decided. So we kind of wanted to break that down a little bit further in terms of, one of the things we covered last week was people are waiving inspections.
Yeah.
And
Bold.
so,
Bold
yeah,
move.
very. And so we kind of wanted to break that down a little bit further in regards to, okay, I'm a believer that if you're comfortable with this house and you have some background handiness
Mhm.
to you, or you have contacts and connections and can afford to take that type of risk on, a house that you're comfortable in doing that.
Yeah.
That it doesn't bother me as much. But there are other times you walk into different places that maybe you don't get that comfortable feeling, but you still like the house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So talk a little bit about some of the other options that buyers may have in regards to putting together, when you're putting together an offer, but you're not comfortable waiving those inspections.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate, because it's any negotiation, so you're trying to come to a win-win situation, and if you're trying to appease the seller to win their vote for you to have that house, the ultimate is just waive it all together. A lot of verbiage out there is to inspection is for buyer's peace of mind, for buyer's knowledge only. No request will be put out. And there's verbiage in the contract where you got like asbestos and poisonous things and termite. So there is a whole nother section in the contract that is. So when you guys are putting offers, everything that you have questions for and you're concerned with, someone has already traveled that road. So most of the time that verbiage is already in the contract. So with that being said, it's for peace of mind only. And if you get in and you find termite damage in the attic, you still have a right out. It's for peace of mind, but I can still bail. So
not only that, but what I've seen, and you probably have too, is even though they're technically waiving the repair contingency,
correct.
if it's something big enough,
yes,
that doesn't necessarily mean, hey, it's big, they're going to walk.
Yeah, there's that situation where
back.
it's like, hey, guys, I know it's for peace of mind only, but they've got radon, or they've got termites, or they've got something that's significant. And if we can present it to the seller that they address it, because if they don't, they have to disclose it now. Because they didn't know it was there, we didn't know it was there, the inspection uncovered it. So we do have an opportunity to go back to that seller and say, hey, you got termites. We walk or you fix it.
Yeah.
Or disclose it, and the next people have to worry about it. Either way, no matter what, they have to fix it, and they might as well fix it in your benefit.
Correct.
So there are, and again, that's some of that verbiage is already in the contract. So if there's poisonous gases like radon or asbestos or something like that, like, hey, this was discovered. I know if you keep it concealed, it's okay, but this isn't. So this is an issue. We walk, or you disclose it and have to fix it for the next guy. Instead, we're still in this game. We'll let you fix it for us, but it does have to be fixed. And then that's when you just get into another round of negotiation. No, we're not fixing it. Okay, then we're walking. You still have to disclose it and fix it regardless.
Right. Who's bet? Yeah.
So do you want to fix it for us? So it is a shift in the energy of the negotiation.
It's a definite shift of momentum,
too.
too.
Yeah, because now buyers do have some kind of leverage. Like once that seller, you have to fix this because it's uncovered and you have to disclose. Legally, they have to. If they choose not to and they want to be unethical and deal with a lawsuit later, that's on that seller. That's nothing that you and I as agents can.
Yeah, and well, it's
between buyer and seller. It's not between agents. So
that was the other point too. Kind of as we're talking about this, like, yeah, I mean, there are options around inspections, and if you're just talking about inspections and you want my opinion on just a general home inspection, like us as agents, like we are not experts on the ins and outs of specifics of homes or the mechanicals or all of these different things, right? Like we can see material defects, things that, hey, I see a crack in the foundation, right? Things that are obvious that maybe not be obvious to, Susie homebuyer because she hasn't seen, as many houses, as many things as you and I or a seasoned agent would, right?
Right.
And we don't necessarily know about things that are latent, right? Which basically means hidden.
Yeah.
And not hidden in terms of like it's anybody's fault hidden. There's a good chance that things get uncovered.
I didn't know I had termites.
The seller doesn't even
I didn't know I had radon gas.
Right. There's a big one I saw today. Knob and tube wiring.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
it's always worked for us.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a big deal.
Been great. Well, yeah, I understand.
Aluminum wiring. What's a big deal?
Right. And so like these general home inspectors, like they're not necessarily experts in just one specific thing in terms of like, hey, they can fix these types of things. They are trained on looking what to look for when it comes to those latent hidden defects.
Yeah.
Whether it be the aluminum wiring, the knob and tube wiring. Hey, your roof has an estimated amount of life of this, your furnace, your air conditioner, so on and so forth, whatever it is. They're not, we get the inspectors all the time that want to do overkill. It's like, oh, that tile's cracked. Right. I saw it.
That's not latent. We all saw it. Thank you.
It's
Crack in the driveway. Thank you. Saw that too.
When you're going through those types of negotiations, like there's options and stuff around that as well. We had talked about, when I'm dealing with a buyer, dealing with a seller, we're talking about this inspection phase. A lot of it is using a buyer, for example. Like, hey, I highly recommend that you get this home inspection. Okay, and then we go down the path of, okay, they get the home inspection. And you try to explain to them beforehand, like, hey, we're not looking for things that are, we're not looking for cosmetic things. We're not going to change the carpet. They're not going to change the paint. Anything that you see as is right now, like typically, this is what it is. This is, you've seen this before you put your contract in, blah, 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 blah. But on the same side of that, like when I'm schooling buyers on those types of things, I'm like, look, we're not looking for this type of stuff. What we are looking for are things that are going to cost you large amounts of money in the short term, maintenance issues, safety issues to make sure it's something that you can move in and feel comfortable with.
Yes.
Right? Maintenance.
Go look at the HVAC system. Google age of train HVAC, and it breaks you down on how do we read the serial code.
Yep.
These two dates mean this, so it can tell you manufacturer's date. It doesn't tell you install date, but it will tell you when that equipment was manufactured at least, so you have an idea. So it's like, okay, I'm really about to move forward with waiving my inspections. All right, let's walk through with a different set of lenses now, because do we really want to waive those? How old is the HVAC? Let's go outside. Let's take a look at the gutters. Let's kind of look at windows. Let's look at some things on face value, because that's all we can do is face value. I can't tell if that's aluminum wiring.
Well, and the other thing
I can't
too,
tell a lot of other things
that you want to rely on is the property disclosure.
Mm-hmm. Faucet work, cool. Light switch work, cool.
There is
windows open, close, yeah.
There's nothing more baffling to me than seeing a property disclosure on a house that somebody's lived in for over 10 years, and it's completely blank. Like, it was just a perfect house forever.
Yeah.
And like those are the ones that you're like, no, I don't like. Immediately there's that relationship, that rapport between buyer, seller, agent to agent, whatever it is, of like, yeah, I get what it says, but I don't trust it.
Right.
Now.
I was in the basement. What's that stain in the floor?
Right.
I don't know. It was there before they got it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see. So, so that type of stuff is important when you're talking about an inspection. It's not to move the garage from the left side of the house to the right side of the house. It's really those things that are important to you that you didn't know before you found out about all these demons.
Yeah.
Right. And so people are waiving for their own knowledge only, right? So the idea is, look, we're not going to ask you to repair these demons, but we just want to know about it. And a lot of times those deals still end up going through.
Yes.
You do get some, even when they come back and say, hey, this is a big deal, are your sellers willing to do anything about it? A lot of times there's still that negotiation window that takes place, and the deal still gets done.
And then it just might not be the house for you. So it's and I just had one a couple of weeks ago where we were walking around, the gutters were hanging, the chimney was rough, there were stains coming down. You can see where the flashing on the chimney was. So yeah, we look at it once we get to that point of, hey, I'm thinking about waiving inspections. Okay, let's walk around the outside of this house again, because that's a serious, bold statement to make. So let's look, and we started noticing things because we were looking at the house differently.
Yeah.
Just structurally, is it sound, and it's, man, I didn't see that. And it's like, yeah, because we want our honeymoon with this house. We want this house.
Right.
But now we got to look at this house. And I don't think I'm going to waive inspections because those are some concerning things. Fair enough. Go into multiple offers. Hey, these guys are waiving inspections. You come back, guys didn't get it. We lost because this other people were waiving inspections. And at the end of the day, it might not have been the house for you, because you could have inherited an $8,000 chimney repair.
Yep.
You could have inherited having to wrap your entire house with new gutters because they were pulling forward, and whatever, and you were not overbidding, but you were bidding what you feel is fair for you to wrap this deal up, which is absolute max value, is reach the top of your budget. Now you got to come up with another $8-10 to put into it. Let's just move on and just chalk it up for that.
It's really hard to buy. Obviously, we highly recommend having a reputable agent assist you,
Yep.
represent you.
And slow you down.
Yeah.
So you're in. I know we've lost on 3 houses, but guys, don't get panicked. Don't get antsy. I don't want you having a $20,000 mistake.
Yeah. We're gonna find one. We just need you to be patient, and understand. And I love the line, like everything kind of happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you deal with certain buyers. It's like after that fourth one, it's like, what happened to the thought of everything happening for a reason? Like it's no longer happening. Now it's just happening to me. Right.
Right.
But if you another thing when you're dealing with agents, and there's good ones and there's bad ones out there, but if you're dealing with a reputable agent, that also can give you a leg up as well. Because if you're dealing with somebody else that this particular agent has worked with in the past,
Yeah.
and had a good working relationship. Same thing when you're talking about whether it's lending, whatever. That's another kind of tool in your tool belt that
Yeah.
you can use, because we'll get calls all the time because we feel we do a good job, and the other agent will be like, hey, we really like working with you, or we'll tell that to the other agent, like, hey, we really like working with you. We've done a couple of deals
Yeah.
together. It seems to
I've
go
had that
smooth.
where my client was like, do you have any suggestions on what we should do? It's like, I don't, this could be a great agent. I've never worked with him.
Yeah.
I have worked with her. Very good experience. I liked working with them. The transaction was smooth. And your client says, okay, we trust you. We'll go with that agent because we know that there's competency on the other side of this transaction. And at the end of the day, we all have a job to do, and that's to get to a closing table. And if we know the other party is competent at their job, then you win.
Yeah.
So just having experience and being we've got our code of conduct that we have to go by, but just being an honest person with integrity
Do
as
good,
an
be good.
agent,
Yeah.
that factors into any decision that when the heat's pressed on us. We're and again, I was on the buyer side of that. 3 exact offers. When I called the agents, hey, Quentin, how are you? How things going? So we had a rapport instantly, and they called back and said, hey, we're going with you.
Yeah.
We like working with you. And it's like, hey, thanks.
I like working with you.
I like working with
Did we just become best friends?
So yeah, there's a lot to be said there.
Yeah, and so taking that away, there's a lot of stuff that goes on outside of inspections. You won't find really neither him nor I recommending ever waiving inspections. No logical agent wouldn't. Now, what we will tell you is this is what people are doing. The people that are winning, they are doing this.
Yes.
If this is something you are comfortable with, we can write it up that way, even though it is not something that we recommend.
Correct.
But the world is what the world is, and unfortunately, sometimes you have to take risks to get big rewards, and hopefully when you take those risks, you get rewarded for it.
Yes.
So anyway, we've got a hard out and a couple things to cover here in the next probably, I'd say 5-10 minutes.
Yep.
We've got our board here, the old school Madden board, right? Our final 4 picks.
Yeah.
Originally, this is what we had.
Well, we had Kansas in the ship the whole time, so
Yep, the whole time.
never made that adjustment.
And North Carolina, we knew that they would make it to the Final Four. I don't know who wrote Duke. I had North Carolina on here before. And Houston, we did this for the one guy that listens to the podcast in Houston so that they could see their team actually in the Final Four. So that ended up being, I don't have the pen here, I'd write it, but that ended up being Villanova versus Kansas. I had Villanova. I had some money on Villanova going the distance. I was so close. At the end of the day, you had Kansas versus North Carolina. I even placed some money on North Carolina that night,
Yeah.
and they came out like gangbusters, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that was a pretty daggone good bet. I was like, they're up 15. I started watching, and then it was like Sunday or Monday night. I'm like watching, bouncing back and forth for a couple shows. Like I got to have a rooting interest, which I did, but I was like, yeah, they're up 15. I'll check back with it. I ended up falling asleep, and it's like I woke up in the morning. I'm like, oh man, that stinks.
Yeah.
I was like, North Carolina. Like I had North Carolina. Kansas won, but
So the penny got Kansas in the championship. We had Baylor originally. They bounced. We reevaluated. We went with our runner-up originally.
Yeah.
So I think us and the penny did a good job.
Did a good job.
We We didn't even get to a 2-strike count. You strike one, then
So-
we hit the next ball.
So now, when you're talking about NCAA basketball, this is when that coaching carousel takes place. You have like the dude from St. Peter's. He gets immediate bump.
And then he's got 3 kids in the transfer portal.
Yeah,
where are they going? Where's he going?
Seton Hall.
Seton Hall.
Yeah.
Seton Hall. So he's going to Seton Hall. I'm sure those 3 will transfer to
Could
Seton
be.
Hall as well.
Yeah. So, like, all these coaches, the last 4 weeks, you've had coaching vacancies. Blah 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 blah. Our favorite coaching vacancy now was the UMass Minutemen.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. And one of
Great hire.
Awesome hire. Love. If you've never heard Frank Martin speak, he's a tremendous speaker, like tremendous leader of men.
Yep.
UMass will now become my second favorite basketball team.
Very good.
Because of Frank Martin.
Very good.
Maybe third because Hugs is still around, who is getting inducted finally into the Basketball Hall of Fame, which I can't believe it's taken this long. But Frank Martin coached under Bob Huggins, was an interim, I think, here at UC, then left with Huggins to Kansas State, made a name for himself when Huggins left Kansas State by staying at Kansas State, and then eventually left to South Carolina, gets let go this year, lands in a perfect opportunity to rebirth that UMass Minutemen program.
Yeah.
He'll get that thing turned around.
I think so. I mean, I think it's a national brand. I think it's a great campus, great place to be. Mullen Center's a great place to play. The arena's nice. So it's got a lot of things going for it. And they got Dr. J up in the rafters. They got Marcus Camby up in the rafters.
Yeah.
So they've got some things.
When Calipari was there, that was a really national. I mean, them and Cincinnati were like 1 and 2.
Yep.
It was like Cincinnati, UMass, Duke, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, it was great.
No,
So-
that's good for the school.
So can't wait.
Got a new football coach,
Yep,
which we've talked about, Don Brown. So
Don Brown going to turn around that football program,
Yep.
get them going in the right direction. UMass, it's going to be the second hottest college in the country.
and with Nick Ayers, baseball has to start.
Yeah.
So football can start. So I did come dressed, not with the basketball thing, but I'm going UMass and got a UMass football shirt.
UMass football.
So I did grab this up there. So baseball has to start in order for football to start. So I'm ready for UMass football to get underway with their new leadership.
Well, the NFL doesn't ever end
No.
because you go from free agency to now we're into mock drafts, right?
And
then-
Justin, I'm taking a Cubs shirt off, so you should be happy.
So, speaking of baseball, today is fake opening day. It's fake opening day because of the lockout, which pushed the season back, which pushed the Cincinnati Reds to not play at home, but to now play at Atlanta tonight at 8 o'clock. Now,
Are they the Reds anymore? I mean,
well, that's where I was going to go next. Was
a AAA affiliate?
it took a lot for me to put on this Jay Bruce jersey because this is the last time that I felt like the Reds were heading in the right direction.
Right.
Well, they were heading in the right direction, then they just kind of traded everybody. So it's
Yeah.
like I'm not really like I'm kind of angry. I'm angry. I'm not kind of angry. I'm angry at the Reds.
Right.
They let good players go and stayed really, really cheap. It's easy for me to say, not my money, but
Like Baez and Rizzo and that was the Cubs.
yeah, that was them, right? So now the Reds have entered that same daggone thing,
Right.
but it is the start of Major League Baseball. They are our home team. Eventually, they'll get their home game, which I think is next week.
Yeah, it's
This is how
before in Atlanta,
little I've
and then
paid
they come
attention.
home. They open it up against the Cardinals.
So this is how little I've paid attention, right? I've seen who they've traded. I've seen all the stuff that's went on, but like I've just kind of just been like, ho hum,
Right.
It's interesting.
They ripped my soul out from me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's interesting too in talking about baseball and baseball weather.
Mm-hmm.
So Carson had 5 games last week, and I swear it felt like all 5 games, the weather was the exact same day.
I'm sorry, the Guardians.
Oh, the Guardians.
I thought it
That's
was
gonna take
the
some time.
Cardinals. So the Guardians come to town Tuesday, the 12th.
The Guardians and the Commanders, that's hard to get used to
Yeah.
because there'll still be Indians and they'll still be the Redskins. Like I can't,
Yes.
I can't get off of. Like I never could go to the Washington football team. No, they play the Redskins.
Yeah.
Who do they play?
The
No, they play the
indigenous
Indians.
people.
Yeah, so, but the weather has been the same pretty much every day for the last 2 weeks. 40, low 50s, cloudy, rainy, blah. Which leads to our unsung hero.
Oh, yeah.
So, our unsung hero segment each week is to highlight a specific job that people don't really pay all that much attention to, but it's an extremely important position.
Yeah.
And with the weather, especially in April, there's a lot of rainouts, whether it's on the high school level, whether it's on the youth level, whether it's Major League Baseball. There's a lot of rainouts or a lot of rain delays.
Yeah.
So our unsung hero is our rain delay groundskeeper guy.
Yes. At West Claremont, Barry Allen, thank you so much for what you do. I went up there yesterday to help. I'm looking at the radar, and it gets kind of breaky and choppy. I was like, is it going to rain? I don't know. Let's drag it. Let's see. We got the cars out. We drug the field, which is all new to me, is getting out and dragging the field, which is a lot of fun. Then it started raining. And it was 1 o'clock, and athletic director called, and we're sitting there, and we're trying to get it turned so air can get to it so it'll dry. And then it just rained again, and we were kind of, it's like a coin toss, right? We kind of knew it was going to rain, but these are just things they go through on a daily basis. If it doesn't, we got to be ready.
Yeah.
Do you just sit back and sit on your hands and wait? So we put about an hour's worth of work in for nothing. Just didn't play.
Yeah.
But if the sun would have stayed out, if no more rain would have came, or just a light drizzle, then we would have got the game in because of the hour's worth of work that we did.
Right.
So it's like, what do we do? Let's try to play.
So my favorite guy is the Major League grounds crew team that you have one guy who is on a weather radar, weather channel, local meteorologist, whatever it is, saying, hey, it's going to rain at this specific time. And then you get a drizzle. It's like, okay, everybody's on call. They're all, you can see them. They're all huddled in the dugout.
Yeah.
They're waiting. And then you start getting the big drops. It's like, okay. And they got to go out there at the worst opportune time. Like, it isn't like, you can't just prepare like, oh, it's drizzling. It's like, no, it's drizzling. It's fine. Like, they go out like in torrential downpours. Like, they're running out there and they're carrying, they're pushing the tarp off the big giant wheel. And like, that's a dangerous job. Like,
Keep it low. Don't
you're walking on a freaking slip and slide, pushing this thing. Like, I love it when like people. This is bad, but I love it when they get run over by it. Like, it's like, oh god, no! Like, get Freddie out of there! Like, get him out. Yeah. So that's my unsung hero. Are those guys, that rain delay groundskeeper guy that has to go out in the torrential downpour.
Yes.
Running on a slip and slide, pushing a mouse wheel down to third base just to get it covered. And the best part is, like,
the rain goes away instantly.
Goes away. It's like, yeah, take it back out.
Take it off.
Take it back out.
No,
off
just kidding.
On,
put it back.
Off and on. Off and on. Off and on. Like, it's that guy. So, thank you, rain delay groundskeeper guy.
Yes. Thank you.
Big fans here at the Tom and Q Show. We got to get out of here. What do we got coming up this week?
It's a good question, man. My head's been on a swivel just from life. Still got ball going on. Still got kids schedule. End of the month. Page comes a date, and so we're looking forward to that. This weekend, Matt Haverkamp, Sunday the 10th, Matt Haverkamp Foundation. They've got their 5K. It's down at Spring Grove. I posted it on the Tom and Q page, the route that they're running. I also posted the link. So the Matt Haverkamp 5K down at Spring Grove is Sunday the 10th, starting at 9 a.m. Awesome
Place, awesome project, awesome foundation. So if you have time, go down there. The weather Sunday's actually supposed to be decent. It's supposed to be the best.
Yep.
Best of the weekend. I, like you, we've got games galore. Friday, Saturday is supposed to be cold, rainy, wet. So we'll see what kind of takes place there. And then Sunday. If worst case, maybe they'll play all the games on Sunday. I don't know. But then next week's Easter week, so
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get into a little bit of that. So it's been great. It's been short, but we do have to run. Alexa, play Center Field.
Here's Center Field by John Fogerty on Amazon Music.
Happy fake opening day, everyone.
Fake opening day. We are out of here.